There seems to be no end to the failure that Ubisoft is subjecting themselves to just because they're pursuing a bunch of ideology. And, well, they're going to maybe take the next few months to actually fix some of that. At least that's the reporting coming out of Bounding into Comics when it comes to Assassin's Creed Shadows. So, we're here to talk about it on That Game Place. Hi friends, it's me, CC, here with two brilliant gaming minds. We've got, of course, the great Nolan Thunder and Space Dave 2000. That's right, we are here to talk a little bit of Ubisoft. Gentlemen, are you excited to talk a little more Ubisoft today?
Let's do it!
Yeah, I'm always excited.
Okay, let's do it indeed. So let's pop up the story. This is coming from our buddy, our pal, our team member, Spencer Baculi from Bounding into Comics. And apparently the dev team for Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to use the delay that they've created so that they'll release their game on February 14th of next year. Happy Valentine's Day, ladies. And they're going to fix the historical and cultural concerns, the problems that have said to have been caused by bringing historians in much too late in the project. That seems rather odd compared to some of the reporting we had previously, but let's find out where this story goes. A new report has potentially shown a light on just how Ubisoft is planning to use the extra Assassin's Creed Shadows dev time allotted to them by the game's recent delay. As previously reported on September 25th, series executive producer Mark Alexis Cote announced that in light of the deluge of criticism being leveled towards both the title's narrative and mechanical direction, as well as the failure of their recent Star Wars Outlaws, the currently going through its studio had decided to delay the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows by nearly 3 months, which is a total of 5 months, I guess, from when they announced it, leading into a financial call that's coming up in less than a month. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'll read the quote and then I'll ask you guys to comment. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour or the renewed stealth brought on by new technology, all set in a beautiful and immersive world. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise. Rich experience can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. So, gentlemen, this sounds like a lot of wind. What is he actually saying, Nolan?
I have no idea what they're gonna change here, because if they're gonna go for the more historically accurate route with this dude, I mean, if they just go and add like some, Asian dude to the front cover, is that gonna look good for their company? Are the shareholders gonna like that? I mean, what else was in this game? Because most of the backlash you've been seeing about this game was all about, its main character. Were there other elements they thought they needed to address? Like, I don't know how they could do this and still look good by the end of it. They're going to make people mad any route they take at this point.
Yeah, but the question is, are they going to assuage the issues that gamers have with the game? I don't know if that's what they're addressing. I really don't know. Space Dave, what do you think? What do you think he's saying with this?
It's a lot of word salad. I agree with that. And I think that they're backed themselves into a corner. They painted themselves straight into it and they're not sure how to get out of it. And I think this is the word salad they're using to try to tippy-toe past the real issue, is that they've really screwed this one up. And I bet they don't even know how they're going to fix it, to be honest. I think they've pretty much tanked this entire game, but we'll see. Maybe they'll work some magic and figure it out. But I agree with Nolan. What are you going to fix? The storyline's done, the lines are already spoken, and you've got a lot of animators that have hard-coded a lot of this stuff. What can you possibly do in 3 months to fix whatever they are claiming is broken, would be my question.
Well, the only thing I could estimate is they've observed just how poorly things went with Star Wars Outlaws visually and all the complaints that they might be able to overcome, in that vein. I think they could certainly maybe address some of that. To clean up the landscapes and to make everything more crisp visually and maybe make things less ugly and muddy as we've saw in Star Wars Outlaws. But other than that, I think both of you are correct. I'm not sure there's much you can do narrative-wise. You can't really change up the story without significantly, re-recording lines and perhaps creating an entirely new character, which Nolan suggested, bringing in an Asian protagonist rather than a Japanese one specifically, rather than this Yasuke creature of historical fiction that, they brought in a fake historian to talk about so that he could, maybe sell more copies of his book. But this Lockley guy is certainly not somebody I would have gone to just so that we could pick out a storyline that would line with our political stuff. But as such, I'll read the following elements of the statement. We made a decision to postpone the release date to February 14th. He then revealed the game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam at launch, which is a break from what they've been trying to do to get people to adopt their Ubisoft Plus. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free, or in other words, the initial DLC. Rest assured, we are looking forward to the moment you will be granted the first. Rest assured, we'll be looking forward to the moment you will embark on a memorable adventure with Naoi and Yasuke. Until then, we thank you for your ongoing support. Well, I would say they really haven't had much of that. There haven't been a lot of gamer support, but in a following statement, or a separate statement, released the same day, Ubisoft leadership further informed investors that while the game is feature complete, so they have all the features in it, the learnings from Star Wars Outlaws release led us to provide additional time to further polish the title. See, it sounds like they're really just going to go out and clean up, the visual aspects at this point. This will enable the biggest entry in the franchise to fully deliver on its ambition, notably by fulfilling the promise of our dual protagonist adventure, which isn't anything new. They've done that a couple of times in the series, with Naoi and Yasuke. Bringing two very different play styles. Yes, one is a stealthy ninja thing, and the other is a big samurai thing. Gentlemen, again, are you more informed on what they're going to try to do? Do you have a better understanding of what they're delaying for? Did this help at all? I'm just curious.
If anything, I think I'm more confused by his statement. I don't know, because that statement there, because I was kind of trying to think, could they do like a radical change and completely remove him from the game, not because of historical inaccuracy, and then make it about, the girl, because history shows that games with, ninja chicks tend to sell pretty well. But with the statement at the end there, he seems pretty committed to following the story. So I guess maybe this is something that reflects, internally, maybe the game was a lot more uglier, not in the sense of character designs, but in the sense of its graphics might not have been as cutting edge as they were hoping for, and maybe that's why they're doing it. Maybe they think the sales charts can make them look better. But heck, maybe you've maybe brought more light to this, because you brought up their service they provide. Is it Ubisoft Plus? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe they know that that's been an absolute failure. And the one dude that said for them, gamers need to get comfortable with not owning their games. Maybe that's just been showing just the reception to this service of how everyone's rejecting it. Maybe this is a test water for that service to die, and then to see hey, well, our game, perhaps it's already a lost cause and maybe it will sell a bit better if we push it to the Valentine's release. I think there's a lot of things they're not telling us here.
Yeah, I would agree with you completely. Space Dave, you any more informed based on the secondary statement?
I think this is a cover story for it says two things to me. One, that they're admitting that they release games that are not very polished or finished.
Right.
They're admitting that by putting this statement out. Okay.
Right.
So what they're saying is we put out Star Wars the way it was, knowing that we didn't test it properly, and it got a lot of pushback and low sales. So therefore, we're going to put this game out and we're going to do what we should have done, which is finish it, polish it up. Now I'm just talking technically. I don't think that's the real reason. I think that's a cover story. It makes them look bad from that perspective. I think personally, and I have no insider information, but my gut is saying they're moving this off of this year's platform because they've taken too many financial losses. They know this game's going to bomb like gigantically, probably worse than the Star Wars title has. and they're pushing it into next year just to push it into next year's probably data sheets, right, off of what they would be this year.
They're
their financials.
Yeah, you jumped right into what my theory was, so you beat me to it. It definitely it was a financial decision to really, try to write the books, because right now their books look really rough. We have another video that'll be coming out here either later today or the following couple of days, talking about another game that they released that was a financial disaster. But to continue on with this, and this is from Spencer's point of view, saying, in light of this decision, the internet was soon set ablaze with speculation regarding just what improvements Ubisoft could make to Shadows, with the most popular theory notably being that they would completely be removing Yasuke from the game's narrative and replacing him with an ethnically Japanese counterpart. Unfortunately, and this is where I agree with Spencer, for those who place their bets on this potential outcome, according to insider sources who spoke to Insider Gaming's Tom Henderson, a change to protagonists is not on their to-do list, though admittedly, this prospect did seem a bit pie in the sky, as removing Yasuke completely would require Ubisoft to almost restart production on the game from the ground up. And I agree that it doesn't seem like it's likely. However, while Yasuke may be sticking around, said sources did suggest that Ubisoft was dedicating a portion of their extra dev time to actively addressing many of the historical and cultural concerns, which started before the game's reveal following external playtests and were accelerated further following the game's initial reveal and mass feedback, which was very negative, if you remember. This includes changing some of Yasuke's story and how he's portrayed in the game, fixing architectural details, and ensuring that the game is historically grounded while fitting into the Assassin's Creed universe, which means they would have to demote him down to the level that he would have been at the time, a retainer, and not pretend that he is an actual full-fledged samurai. The question is, will they do that? I don't know. I think what's most likely, and gentlemen, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think they're going to remove the quote-unquote rap music from cutscenes and from the fight scenes that it seems to
Let's
have.
Hope so.
Seems to have appeared during these elements of the quote unquote play test that was publicized. I don't know. Do you guys think that's a wrong guess on my part, or what do you think?
I think I agree.
Yeah, I think there's a very strong chance that they'll do a little bit of backpedaling, but not as much as what you might think they will.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to. And here's probably the good place to round out this story. It's with Henderson's sources explaining to him that historical experts were brought onto the project much later than usual for a project of this magnitude, and that miscommunication between teams and cutting corners when it came to approval process of assets to meet deadlines were also at play. I think that people were used to stealing assets from others, which there was plenty of done on this game, quite clearly visually. But I think that maybe I think that maybe the historical experts weren't so much expert as they were being portrayed as. And again, they put a bunch of other things in here, including some intimacy stuff that I think a lot of people may be turned off by. I don't know. Gentlemen, I'm going to give you your the final word here, starting with you, Space Dave. What do you think they could do in order to make this game more appealing? Is there any way to save it at this point?
No, objectively, there is nothing left to do to save this. As Nolan had said, and I think we all agreed, the story is locked in. There's no way you can backtrack and even change his assets, as you said, which are the game character, to be something else. That you've locked all of his movements, all of his everything. Everything is locked up. And anyone that knows 3D design and all of the game development, it's too late. You're way too far into this game. It's one thing to redo your voice actor. It's a total different thing, and music. It's a total different thing to change the assets like people are claiming. So no, it's done. This goose is cooked. It's been shot out of the sky. It's been defeathered, stuffed, and they're a little late. They've got it halfway cooked, and now they're trying to pull it out of the oven to change the sauce, and it ain't going to work, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Yeah. What do you think, Nolan? Final word here.
They're they're done. Like, they've committed to this idea unless they take the route of someone on the staff on the twilight hour sees like, what can we do to save this game? It's like, forget it. Let's turn this game into a comedy. Let's have the old bad dubbing or whatever and like make the story as ridiculous as possible so people might kind of see it a little more satire of how insane this game can get. I just think they've committed to failure and they're just too far in. They can't save it. This game is done.
Yeah. Look, I think I agree with both of you gentlemen. I think you're 100% right. And I think looking off into the sunset may be something that that Ubisoft should be looking forward to, because that might be the final moments of the successful games that they used to put out historically, based in history. Anyway, on that note, I will ask you, our wonderful audience out there, a little audience participation time. What do you think? Do you think that this game can be polished? Do you think they can clean up the assets? Do you think they can remove some of the offensive elements that might exist here? Do you think that the shooting for a complete narrative change is impossible like we do here? Or do you think that there's a chance that maybe they can finagle something in a way that makes this less offensive to everybody who might have been originally interested in playing it? Or do you think this is just a lost cause? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, double check that you're subscribed because, hey, you're here watching our video. It's free. Please help us out. We would appreciate it. On that note, as always, get your game on.